Hello there team. So this is a little 2v2 I did last night alongside Leicester. I'm playing as Numenor again. Pretty similar build, but I'll go through that in a second. Leicester's going as Angmar. Over on the far side here, we've got Corrigan as the Hobbits, or the Shire. And then we've got Faka again as the Dwarves of Erebor. So this was my first time ever actually facing off against or having a Hobbit in my team, so I was quite excited to see how all that played out. And then yeah, this was the first time I'd seen Faka play as Erebor. So yeah, again, I was interested to see that. So I've got no cavalry with my Numenor force. Now the reason for that is because I really wanted to grab these guys, the Farazim Swordmasters. I wanted to pop them in my army. Quite expensive, and with a lot of the other very expensive units I had, there just wasn't enough money left over for cav. But I'll touch on that as the battle progresses. Up at the front here, I've got two Belegar archers. In the centre, a Romena bowman. Behind them, two units of the Belegar footmen, and then three pikes. In the centre, I've got the sentinels, and then some Belegar pikemen on the sides. No armour upgrades for any of the Belegar units this time round, which I do like to use the armour upgrade. Well, one, I think they look a lot better with the armour upgrade. Two, I think when I play as Numenor, I like to have a very sort of high quality army, small but high quality army. And even though I'm putting these Belegar units in there, I want to make sure that they're the best possible Belegar I could field. So it's but again, money concerns, I just had to stick it the way it was. Then three of these Romena infantry behind them, the Farazim Swordmasters of course, some Seafarers of Nandamos on the far side, some Royal Legion of Armenelos, and in the centre here, the Narun Aru Royal Guard. That's where I've shoved my general today. In Leicester's army, he's got some wargs on either side. Yeah, Leicester's a big fan of, oh gosh, what's the word I'm looking for? This is terrible. It's same on both sides. Symmetry. Jeepers, that just vanished. Yeah, big fan of symmetry like myself. So that on both sides. Then the Witch Realm Inquisitors, some Guardians of Carn Dûm, halberds, pikes, halberds, and then some more Guardians of Carn Dûm. So nice sort of spread forths. There's also two units of Snaga archers and two units of the Barrow Whites there. So something that, I mean, I always am aware of it, but yeah, Leicester did mention it. And you can see it very clearly there. I deploy in very narrow formations. Now, the reasons for that I'll go through when we start moving, but it does make my force seem pretty tiny in comparison to that there. Then over here we've got the Hobbits. Not a lot can be seen because, well, one, most Hobbit units can hide anywhere, but two, there's a lot of forests on this side of the map, so just about everything could hide. So we've got two of these Proudfoot Protectors. I really like the Proudfoot Protectors. I've never used them, of course, but I love their look. I love their sort of little simple shield on the back. They're fantastic crossbows, and the fact that they're sort of pikes in melee, it's all really cool. The Ents, you know, pretty solid pick. I think you sort of need them. He's put his general in with the Ents. Yeah, so Samwise is the general for them, so pretty cool. Has he got the little... Yeah, cool. They've got a little leaf. I should know what that's called, but I don't. Battling Brandybucks. All in all, though, we'll see his army appear. We'll probably just keep it a secret until it starts appearing, actually. Two units of these Ironfoot Pikes. An Erebor Legionnaires unit there. Some Ironfoot Hammer Guard. Ironfoot Crossbows, two of them. And the Blacklock Engineers. And then there's definitely a lot more to come with that. But again, as I say, a lot is hidden. So we spent a lot of time between myself and Leicester trying to plan out how we want to proceed here. With most of their army being hidden, we can't really just do this willy-nilly. So that's why there is this sort of long pause at the start. It's a very long battle. But there was a decision of either we focus on one of them, or we come around the sides, or, you know, what should we do? But the issue with Angmar, or the issue with the Barrow Whites anyway, is the Barrow Whites really limit your maneuverability options, you know, and nobody really wants to take ages sort of reforming around. So it was just a case of, yeah, Leicester said, I'm going to be going straight forward, and that was fair enough. So one of the reasons I like to do these tighter formations is you are very mobile. It's so quick to just grab your entire force and move here. You know, it's I'll be moving in a sec. Yeah, good. And that's not really something you can do with this big spread formation. So what I will usually do in combat, unless I'm caught off guard, which unfortunately I often am, is I will spread out before throwing myself into combat. Now, as I say, the main issue with that is if somebody catches you out, they can easily surround you, or artillery. So, but I'm okay with that risk. I think it's the benefits kind of outweigh that for me. You know, I can just move here, and then when I engage, I'll spread out and start flanking around people. But in a 1v1, of course, it'd be different when you know you're kind of going to be going straight forward towards your enemy. Over sort of, especially if you're over an open field, it's better off to just start wide. So I'll speed up for a little while because we're just doing a lot of reforming. These war goats have appeared, and another thing that's appeared, well, these Sons of Durin and the Obsidian Guard. So a lot of these units with Blacklock, yeah, good. So the Dragon Slayers and the Highborns of Erebor. So there's a lot of very expensive infantry popping up here for the dwarves, and that is really not. Well, it means he's limited in numbers massively. Now, me playing as Numenor, I'm not exactly somebody that's going to be vastly outnumbering them, but it was interesting to see. And we'll touch on how that affects the combat. Yeah, I actually I recorded this for the first time, about 2 hours ago, but I wasn't able to get all the way through, and the recording was just not so great. So there's a lot of times where I'm running something through my head, and I'm trying to remember if I've said that or not, but I said it in the last video. So, of course, as I said, the issue with this is I have no cav. Now, this is something that as soon as the game started, as soon as I started to move around, I felt really unsafe. You know, I don't like not having a cavalry unit. Even Numenor, who, their cavalry is certainly not bad. They've got something exceptional and a cavalry cav, and then their cheaper cav it's got a charge bonus of 10, which is certainly not great, but it's not terrible. And you know, I would have loved to have grabbed one of those. It's only about 1,000 florins. So, as I say, I would have, if I could go back at this point, I would have either gotten rid of the Royal Legion of Armenelos, or I would have gotten rid of the Pharazim Swordmasters and grabbed one of them instead. So we've got, Leicester is just advancing. As I say, he's got to just keep it quite slow because of his Barrow Whites. But it doesn't look like Corrigan's too excited to sort of get out of his nice cover there. So occasionally we're seeing things popping up. He's got the Farmers of Buckland. Now the issue with the Shire is so much of their army has armor-piercing weaponry. So I'm actually quite interested to see how the Barrow Whites face off against so many dwarves, so many hobbits with their armor-piercing. Now, the reason I'm coming around like this is to try and turn the dwarven line. Either make him turn a portion of his force, but preferably turn his whole force entirely. If I can get him to just kink himself around like this, say, then that means that when Leicester attacks, he's got an exposed dwarven flank to just throw himself into. Now, as we're not really seeing any cavalry from Corrigan, and we're seeing some moves being made by this, goat cavalry, Leicester decides to send over his trolls, his wargs, and even his inquisitors are on their way. So that was pretty pleasing. If I can get rid of, because I don't have any cav to slow them down or try and take them out, I definitely would feel a lot more comfortable with them destroyed before I go on the attack. But Hammer Guard are certainly exceptional against cavalry, and I think the Ironfoot Wargulls do actually get an anti-cavalry bonus too. So it's even up against Wargs and the Inquisitors. It's not something we want to go into willy-nilly, but the Inquisitors are certainly one of the best melee cavalries in the game. What I was wanting to use the Romena Bowman for was actually striking at the Hammer Guard, but I didn't. I wanted him to get closer. I didn't want to just hurl that out. So I see this developing, and I think he just catches the Hammer Guard here with his wargs. Yes, so he grabs everything together, throws himself into the Hammer Guard, totally surrounds him, and I see that going down, and I think, fantastic, that's going to be totally one-sided for us. But Hammer Guard outperform, and they're yeah, you can see they're dropping Inquisitors left and right, and they're wiping out these wargs, which is not something we expected. So I saw that happening. I tried to get my Romena Bowman into position. Now I tried to fire at the side of these Ironfoot Wargulls first. I thought that's a great target, but we just move these Inquisitors into place. I get a lot of friendly fire there, far too much friendly fire against his back, and a lot of them just firing over the top. It was a bit of a waste of one of only 5 of their volleys, so I stopped that. But I've also got these Belegar footmen just sprinting forward just to try and to help turn this tide in our favour. But he pulls out the Hammer Guard, which I thought was quite an interesting thought. Maybe he thought he was in a bit more trouble than he was there. You know, if he had stayed in there, he was killing these guys. Now, the Legionnaires, I think they ran out without... I don't think Faka was really watching how far they were getting. And because he is starting to run them back now, what I'm trying to do with these footmen is get them round in front, stop him, but not quite able to do so. So I just try to throw myself at him there. Now what I'm trying to do there is hold him in place so that I can get my seafarers around the back of him. But I kind of, I guess I sort of lose my bottle a bit, and I sort of run away and think about coming back. It's just, it's a bit dumb of me, but luckily Leicester comes in to try and make some good out of this situation, because I think if I wipe out these Legionnaires, that's just one more thing that gives me the infantry advantage. That's such a brutal charge there against them for what is meant to be a melee cavalry unit. So I see that happening. I think, okay, let's get the Belegar footmen back in there, have them being attacked on one side, and then surely a few more charges from the Inquisitors, or if needs be, a quick volley from the Seafarers. I'm even getting some of these Romena infantry around the side too to help take that on. But as for the rest of my army, I'm holding it in position for now. As I said before in the last battle, I don't love advancing while there's currently a fight going on elsewhere. It's just I like to keep my full focus on one area if I can, and then move forward as one connected group. And Leicester's going to take some more time with his barrow wights to reach position anyway, so I wasn't too worried. Oh yeah, I forgot, the first time I did this I had a proper good look at these Trolls of Angmar. It's been, I've not seen them since the new patch. I think they look fantastic. Yeah, sort of just with their arm mounted blades. That was just my TeamSpeak noise in case anybody was checking theirs there. Yeah, Romena Bowmen still have 4 of their volleys, so I'm just searching for a target for that. These Legionnaires, as outnumbered as they are, they're still holding out. There's still 28 of them there. Wargs just coming in and out. But no, it's tough. Yeah, 25 now. We're taking crossbow fire from the back. Now, I wasn't really wanting to take crossbow fire to my Belegar footmen, but it's not the worst thing in the world. As soon as I'm seeing that taking fire though, I'm wanting to move up now, so I'd start pulling my men back. And then that leaves behind a lot of boys, who I was hoping would just all sort of disengage, because as soon as they start thinking about disengaging, they all seem to just get cut to pieces. But that's just what happens. But I do get them back in time. And that's still 20 Erebor Legionnaires from 19 now. A lot of Belegar archers just opening fire on these crossbows. We'll take out a few of them, especially when they're running away from us, but it's not too great. Barrow wights approaching now. That conflict will be beginning soon, because Corrigan's force will of course extend quite far out, probably starting around here or something. Got my men moving up. Oh yeah, so you can see this is still another quick charge from the Witch Realm Inquisitors, taking that down to 13. The Wargs coming all the way around, because why not? We've sort of got Cav dominance. The Hammer Guard are still around, they can definitely challenge that Cav dominance, but they're being passive. Very cautiously slipping himself through the stakes before he starts running. Barrow-wights are almost in position. The good thing about the Barrow-wights moving through these sorts of forests first is Barrow-wights are really the unit you want to use to flush out hidden units. It's so, you know, because if they do find something, great, you know, you can start attacking my tar pit. They're taking hits now. That's probably from the Proudfoots. Oh no, they are from crossbows. Yeah, crossbows are going to do some damage to Barrow-wights. It's of course not really what you want to be targeting, but there are worse targets. Yeah, and then the Horde. It's 3 units of these Tookish archers, so that's 182 men in a unit. That's massive. Just all opening fire on the archer line. Interesting. Okay. Yeah, there was something quite funny. People said to me that Tookish hunters were actually really great in a skirmish fight because of their low profile. They're actually really just tough to hit. So it makes sense, you know. Hobbitry in arms here, holding the front. I'm not sure, I think Hobbitry in arms are actually armor piercing, but I might be wrong on that. So that will benefit them a bit against these Barrow-wights, but it's not going to be great. Belgar archers, I'm lurching forward as close as I can get, really. I outrange all of his crossbows, so that's nice for me. And I'm just wanting to hit his pikes. Shooting heavily armoured dwarves from the front is never really going to go too well, but when you've spread out your pikes just 2 men deep, every man that I can kill is a hole in your line. You know, of course the men will shuffle into place, but you know, it benefits me. So I'm, let's say that's down to 135 now. It's, if I could just kill a few more, then that makes my attack all the more easy. And I'm watching this fight take place, and as soon as the actual halberds move up, or the real infantry move up, that's when I'll advance. The Barrow-wights right now are just there, thinning out the horde, hopefully absorbing arrow fire, but not really looking like that is happening too much to them. Yeah, we'll go back up. Speed. The Blacklock Engineers, they start chewing into my Belgar archers. Now, as I say, I just don't know if Faka, he's wiping them out, of course, as he would, but I just don't know if Faka knows their true power or not. It certainly wasn't something I was going to tell him mid-fight, but no. Oh yeah, these Erebor Legionnaires just slip on by me. They still managed to survive 10 of them. Yeah, there. So I responded with my footmen. It's not the best unit to take them on, but just overwhelming numbers will wipe it out. And I knew I was going to be attacking properly soon, so I wanted to keep all of my infantry in place. Men of Bowmen moving up. I'm seeing these Hammer Guard moving. What am I targeting? I'm targeting something. Moving up. But yeah, his Hammer Guard are coming around, and I've left my archers here exposed, which is a very good target for his Hammer Guard. And but I've got the Seafarers right there. So what I'm trying to do right now is tempt him to come and attack my archers, and then just respond with my Seafarers. Perhaps I should move them just a little bit to right here, say, but because those Seafarers will devour some Hammer Guard with their javelins. So the main line has collided now. These Hobbitry in arms are not going to be able to hold for long. They've already been sort of weakened down a bit. They're shaken in some places, and they've got nothing really to go up against this pike line. Now, see, this is the true power of a wide formation. You know, you can really just totally come around and swallow up the position. Now the Farmers of Buckland are one of the stronger units that the Hobbits have access to, but again, up against halberds, it's not something they can challenge from the front. You know, really just needs the archers to chew into them. Which the archers are doing. It seems like this whole infantry force is there to try and provide the hunters and the Bandbrass archers with as much time as possible. Now, something that we were noticing at this point was the Dwarven elites, all of them. Every single Dwarven elite unit is coming over here to this main line, which will definitely turn the tide. You know, you're seeing now defeat is common all the way across the line. And so I need to push in now, I need to respond, I need to break this formation in order to, you know, either pull those elites back or come around as a flank. Belagar pikes are not really going to be able to beat the Ironfoot pikes, but if I can just start to engage them, wear them down, and then break through elsewhere. As you can see, a lot of areas, a lot of this line has just been weakened so badly that my infantry is able to chew through them quite nicely. Sons of Durin moving in to respond, attacking my Royal Guard there. I've got my general there, and my general is so close to actually being in the fight, so that's a bit scary. The Royal Guard are certainly not too bad. They're not 2 hit points anymore, but they're still not bad in a fight. The issue is, though, they've got their spears, whereas they're fighting two-handed hammers. So it's not too great. Even coming in from behind with some Belagar footmen, these Sons of Durin are going to hold out really well. I've got another shot with my Rumena bowmen, so the plan is to try and line them up and fire into this force, but I've managed to block off that shot. Now we totally missed it, unfortunately. Where did it happen? Yeah, so you can see a lot, you can see all of my archers dead, but you are seeing some dead hammer guard, and you know, it did pay off in the end, but I lost a lot of archers for it. Rumena bowmen, yeah, just did not use a shot there. Starting to break through, getting through to the crossbows. Inquisitors are roaming free now. Warp Riders are running though. As for the main line, these Beornings have revealed themselves, but even them, these huge units are able to hide in this forest if they stay still long enough. The Ents have thrown themselves into the fight, and that is where I have sent my Swordmasters to try and respond. Swordmasters, I'm not actually sure if those Swordmasters are AP or not, but they are good quality men, which is what you want to face down units like this with, but I just love how they seem to bounce off. There's a really good, yeah, they just seem to keep bouncing. But, no, so that's pretty funny. But they're getting, they really just getting swatted away. And perhaps it would have been better had I sent just either a fodder unit while these Swordmasters were cutting through the main line of Dwarves. The Sentinels, killing off these Turkish hunters there. Crossbows, luckily he's stopping them from firing. I need to get an infantry unit on that. Another mess here. These Obsidian Guard are definitely going to be giving me pause. Even up against the Royal Legion of Armenelos, they're doing quite well. Might just come around with a flank. The Royal Guard, I had to pull them out of that fight with the Sons of Durin. I did not want to lose my general, and I was just losing men to him. But the Sons of Durin are now surrounded almost entirely, but I could have done better with those seafarers, gotten them around and just swatted in from the side, but these are just Rumena bowmen there, so still not poor quality by any stretch. At this point we're 59 for 74, but that's still so much. There's still a lot of Ents, there's still the Bear Riders, and so that was a thrust to the back there, but we can see the Proudfoots have now turned around, and their phalanx is going to be tough to break through here. Really tough, wow, yeah. So they're perfectly happy for that engagement. I think they might be pulling out. Ah, he wants to shoot. See, I wouldn't have been doing that. I would have won that fight first, because he was chewing through them like nobody's business. Turkish hunters firing into the side. This is great. Yeah, that's a good use. They're banded brass archers, sorry, not Turkish hunter. But I saw these guys. Is that me firing? Yeah, the Belgar archers. They're going to absorb arrow fire all day, even from behind. But it's we need to deal with this force because that's 21 men. One charge from that can shatter even elite infantry like mine. So we'll see what happens when they just come into a bunch of unprepared archers. Just absolutely steamrolled. Yeah, just gone, routing. Down to about 10 men. It's a very powerful unit from the dwarf, not the dwarves, the hobbits. The Royal Guard then, new targets. I tried to turn them around, try to get their spears out, but they aren't going to get their spears out until they're actually engaged in melee, of course. So we get some charging, we get a few stabs off, no doubt. Yeah, that's not too bad actually, but I'm down to 19 men for that, just for taking out one of them. Still got the general alive though, and he can just come in and out like that. Now, what I really should have done is maybe grabbed him, tried to get behind something. Oh damn, tried to get somewhere maybe, but no. I pulled out an arrow. This is probably the worst thing I could have done. I told them to pull out their bows and shoot again, but that meant that they had to retake their spears out, and we took out a few of them there. Yes, we're chewing through their hit points a bit, which is good to see. Over on this side, the Sons of Durin. Only not many of them left, but they're doing okay here. The Hammer Guard, what's left of them, has come back into this fight. I've not really got anything of quality here fighting the Sons of Durin is the problem. I'm more just tying up the Sons of Durin with a few units that I don't need in the main fight. These Obsidian Guard are now entirely surrounded, with my Romena infantry on one side, Royal Legion of Iron Menelaus still fighting there, and then the footmen just completing the encirclement. Angmar sort of quite methodically wiping out what's left over here. But the Ents, still a lot of Ents left. The Swordmasters taken down to 17 men. Don't think we've dropped a single Ent. Oh no, we've brought down a few of them. So once you start seeing one or two models dropping, you know that they've not got long left. But yeah, only 10 of them now. That was just a prod. Just a prod from that little stick there. Took him out. And yeah, it's kind of just mopping up from this point. But this is really just showing how... I've shown this before in one of my other battles, but how effective just a small unit of heavy cav can be if you are able to micromanage them. Yeah, so they're just coming in and out. Absolutely steamrolling these guys again. You know, if I had another volley from my armor-piercing archers, or if I had some crossbows, then I wouldn't be too worried right now, but it's just, as it stands, they're just coming in and out. Every time I see them, just grab the nearest spearman and try to stab away, but it's... You know, by that point the damage is done.
If we continue like this, we will smash the enemy.
Yeah, so we'll speed it up. But I will be watching these bears, just seeing what they get up to. Yeah, as I say, like because I'm watching them, you know, they're not surprising me, but it's just I don't have anything to really answer them. But that worked out quite well. I had to pull just about everything away from the front line, but only for a few seconds, and that allowed me to deal some real damage to them. So we're down for 77. It wasn't it was a good little scrap, but we just had a good army here to counter what Faka had and what Corrigan had against us. And I don't think I've said it before, but like when you've got Leicester on your team, you really have to work hard to lose. You know, you're generally going to be winning that battle. But I think it was good to see Faka sending over his troops to go and support his ally. I just think he probably sent over too much. I think even had he sent over, say, one or I guess two of his elite units over to support Corrigan, that could have been enough. As for me, definitely the major mistake was just not bringing a cavalry unit. You know, I always like to have, yeah, you can see they're just so ready for the Royal Guard. Yeah, knock him over, but he's okay. So, just get the boys together and try to attack him, but nah, he's just coming for another charge. So yeah, I think even in like a siege, I like to bring one unit of cav. It just makes me feel a lot more comfortable. It makes, because you feel trapped. You know, you feel trapped within your formation when you don't have any cav. Whereas, you know, if you've got one unit of cavalry just running circles around you, just being on the defense, it feels good. You feel a lot safer. So, as I say, yeah, Leicester there, just 2,000 kills. It's always pretty pleasant. A lot of boys from the Hobbits, which they really can bring big armies. You know, almost 3,000 men there from Corrigan. So that was cool. Really small armies from Fakab, just because of the amount of elites that he brought to the field. As I say, I think it's like one of the, like, you can see this from my battles in Warhammer Total War. Like, I don't know what units do. I don't know what works against what unit, and it's so I do bring army compositions that are a bit weird, and that's what you see from a lot of newer guys coming to Reforged as well. So it was a very elite force, which can work, but I just don't think it's what you need in a 2v2. I think in a bigger game you can afford to bring more elites, but I think 2v2s it's better to just have a balanced army, unless you're really able to work with your teammate and plan something out together. Plan something out that really complements each other. So the Royal Guard there, really not getting many kills. I was able to use like a sliver of their ammunition. The sea. This is the sea, because I guess it's northern Ithilien. I don't know. I didn't know that area was called the sea, but that's fair. Yeah, so we got the Royal Guard there. They used a slither of their ammo. I really should have probably had them a little bit further up my formation. You know, they're long range, and I was up against crossbows, so they're not under any threat. So probably should have put them up, you know, maybe even just in front of my pikes, you know, where they can just at least fire off a few arrows in the initial stages. Belagar pikes there, both of my Belagar pike units, they were going up against Ironfoot pikes, so it's fair that they were more there just to chip away. Maybe I should have brought something else instead, but hey, it worked out. The Sentinels, though, that was great. They were just able to pierce right through the Ironfoot pike line and start to kill off a lot of hobbits after that, so that was good. The Farzam Swordmasters, although I wasn't seeing them getting kills, they clearly were. They were up there fighting the Ents, but there would have been a lot of hobbits jumping into that fight. 46 for 46, that's kind of cool to see. But no, the Royal Legion of Armenelos, again, they were fighting the Obsidian Guard for a while, so that's fair enough. But it's probably the Royal Legion of Armenelos I would have gotten rid of and changed out for a cavalry unit. So I would have changed that for a cavalry unit, and then I would have poured money into getting the Belagar units armored up, and maybe some melee upgrades too. The Seafarers of Nindamos there, not a huge amount of kills, but a lot of those kills were the Hammer Guard. You know, so that's the Hammer Guard really sponged up their javelins, so that's why that was so low, and then after that they went off to fight the Sons of Durin for the rest of the game. So no, they did good. Infantry was a real mix. I was about to say 15, but that was one of the Belagar Arch units. Yeah, I think it was just depending on what they were fighting, whether or not they racked up some good kills or not. As I say, both units of Belagar Archers, when you're attacking heavily armoured dwarves with arrows, you know, you're never really going to do too well. But then there were men of bowmen. They handled themselves a bit better. They took so many losses in melee up against the Sons of Durin. So that's not really their fault. And then the two Belagar footmen, yeah, they did their job. You know, I wish I probably didn't throw them into the fight and instead just kept them back, because they would have been really beneficial to just try to zone out the bear riders near the end of that. But no, cool. That was a really fun one. I'd say Corrigan's been around this game for way longer than I have, and then but FAC is, and well, so is Leicester, but FAC is brand new, and as I mentioned before, he's one of these guys I'm seeing popping up all the time. So I'm really excited to see him continue to get to grips with all of this and see what he turns out. We'll see how he turns out. But yeah, thank you very much.